Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good noon. I hope so. It's already 10:15 a.m. and I'm here at a set of friends. And I'm very happy to see this set because one of the lessons that I really want in my life is the lesson from the Song of Friends. It goes like this: no one told you life's gonna be this way. All right. I forgot the whole lyrics, but it goes like that. And college life is very different from the usual life that you have. Maybe in high school. In high school, although you will tell me that, ma'am, there's in high school we don't have a problem like this and that, and also studying. But in college, it's different. You are being you are being You're being trained to become an employee. You're being trained to become a teacher, a full-fledged teacher, and so on and so on. So it's very different from the normal thing. So without further ado, let's begin our part four of our lesson. And I know that you're a little bit scared because, mom, so many discussions that we have right now. Yes, indeed, we have a lot of discussion because we have a lot of interruption last time. As a college student, we need to make sure that although we've been doing a lot of things, we could still do these things. So now, our lesson is about phonology. This is where we ended last time with the components of the different scenarios, and now we're in the phonology. Now, to begin our lesson, let us have this paragraph first. According to this one, language is natural. It is primarily used in verbal exchanges in insurmountable times than in writing. Since people talk more than write, language is spoken through the use of the articulatory speech organs. It is in the premise that the study of linguistic speech is deemed important. We learn the language first when we hear things, and we respond using the things that we've learned, and usually everything is vocal. So it's the primal, or it's very important to know how to speak, because speaking will come first before writing, because writing is very different, because writing is more on um what you call this, it's more on different documenting the things that was said. So more on, that's the difference between writing and speaking. As we take closer to a verbal communication, we often encounter questions about organization of speech sounds. But in this chapter that we will discuss the answers to these questions and present significant information that improves not only your understanding but also articulation of sounds and production of the English words. Actually, we have discussed this one before, and we started with the IPA, and we've already have an examination for the IPA. So this one is different. So the very basic requirement for effective verbal communication is to occur the understanding and agreement of the speaker and the listener. This is done through careful analysis of the structure, the production of sounds, and the proper articulation. Thus, it is imperative for you to get familiar with some basic concepts related to the sound production and articulation. It means that there is a consensus between the speaker and the receiver. And when a speaker speaks, you tend to make sure that you understand the tone, the different articulation, the different not just the words, but also the manner of saying, because we have social, the paradigm and everything. It's all everything is measured. That's why you need to be familiar with these words. For instance, I already told you last time that when we speak, for instance, different I love yous. When we say, I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Diba? So these words, although I love you is just a three three words only, but the manner, the way you speak to it, the receiver, because it could be someone some people, they only say I love you to the person that they love, as in they truly love. So it could be just their kids, their parents, and the significant other that they have. But to some people it's for instance the artist who will say Sarangheya, like that, diba? Saranghe Philippines, like that. So it's kind of different. The meanings differ from the speaker and the receiver. So we will be familiarized with the different terminologies in language. So the first thing is the difference between phonology and phonetics. These two are interrelated terms, and the following terms are defined to understand the concept. So let's start with phonology. Phonology is the study of speech sounds. It looks into the patterns of sounds in a particular utterances and across languages. It scrutinizes the difference between languages by exploring what sounds could go together to make patterns and form into words. It analyzes the history in terms of the changes of sounds, a particular language in comparison with another language. It examines the abstract mental units such as language structures of sounds. It investigates the different processes as how objects and sound are mentally represented in human brains. It identifies some categorical organizations of speech sounds in the minds and how they are used to convey messages. So when we say when we say phonology, it's the study of speech sounds and everything that is under it. So the things that I have read is just same study of speech sounds. So everything under the phonology is is that. You don't need to have a lot of things. As long as we're studying the different speech sounds, it is already phonology. Now, the scope of phonology is very broad. One of its scopes is to explore how syllables could be broken down. Phonology identifies syllables as a component of the nucleus and vowel sound and the coda consonant sounds in the syllables. So the way the words are formed, the way the words are produced, all of which are under phonology. Now, the next question is, if phonology is the study of sounds, what is phonetics? When we say phonetics, phonetics is deals with the definite production and acoustics of the sounds of language. It looks into the speech production and the interaction of the different organs of speech, such as teeth, this one, tongue, the lips to articulate a certain sound. So it is the study of the physical qualities of speech. When we discuss phonology, everything about speech. But phonetics, it's more on the different organs. So it means that in the human parts tayo, that is phonetics. So when we differentiate phonology from phonetics, it is interrelated because it we could say that it is under phonology, phonetics is under phonology, but it's kind of different because again phonology looks at the object as a mental representation of sounds, but phonetics is the organ itself. Phonology is about how you present, how you say it, everything under the speech. But when we talk about the body parts, not just the abstract elements, but the body parts itself, we are talking about phonetics. Okay, so it's interrelated because both of them are functioning as a sound, but they are different because one talks about the abstract thing, everything about the speech production, and the phonetics talks about just the body parts that is involved when you speak. Now, we have another one, which is phonemics. Phonemics looks into the structure of language, terms of phonemes, or its distinct sounds of a. It's the smallest sounds in a specific language that differentiates one word from another. The sounds of p, d, b, t in the words pat, dab, had, bad, and tap. So phonemics is distinct units of sounds. So what is the difference between phonetics from phonemics? Phonetics and phonemics also differ in ways. In terms of transcriptions, phonetics offer more specific on how sounds are produced, while phonemics shows how people interpret such sounds. In terms of the representation, brackets are used enclose to phones and sounds, while slashes are used to enclose phonemes. Phone are definitely universal. They're not specific to any particular language, whereas phonemes are relative to languages. Therefore, phoneme d and English phoneme d are both meaningful, yet phone d represents in both English and Philippine language are not the same set of sounds. Phonemics is the representation of each sounds and how it was produced in a certain languages, whereas phonetics is basta you produce the sounds. So that's the difference between the two. The p, d, the p, and the pa. Diba? In Filipino, pa, pa. In English, pa, 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 pa. Diba siya? Pa, 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 pa. And you will see the difference. For example, pan, pan, pan. Okay. In Filipino, we have pa, pa, pangit. Diba? So this pan, pangit, pan, pa, 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 pa. In Filipino, pa, pa, pa. So there's a difference. Pa, 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 pa. It's different. It's the same letter, but different pronunciation. All right. So now let us now have allophones. Allophones is a predictable phonetic variation of any speech sounds that stands in a single phoneme, such as aspirated in kit and unaspirated in k and skit. Are allophones with the phonemes or the aspirated t on top and unaspirated. So I have this is an example of allophones. So it's different when we say aspirated. When we see aspirated, it is usually the start of a letter. So specifically for k and t, p. So for example, this one. In allophones, wool and love is different because wool is not aspirated because it's not in the first one. Love is aspirated because it's in the first one. Okay, so it's also allophones are also the same with this one. Pen, spin, stop, pen, spin, stop. So the more that the letter is not in on front, nawawala siya. It was a different pronunciation and the aspiration lessens it. Pen, pen, spin, stop. Halos hindi mo na madinig yung stop. Where are you going? Wool, woo. Minsan nga, especially if it is blended, woo, woo, love, love. So the difference, allophone is the difference when you place the letter in a different place in a word, it has a different aspiration. So for example, pen, spin, top. So it's different. So that is allophones. Phoneme versus allophones, the key difference. Both allophones and phonemes are components of speech sounds. However, phonemes are described to be recognizable distinct unit of sound, while allophones are variants of sounds. Phonemes are related to speech meaning, while allophones are related to speech enunciation. Phonemes could be a spoken language, while allophones are uttered. Allophones could be associated with spelling, but phonemes do not always sync with spelling. Phonemes are implicitly specific sound units in a language. For instance, the word pet and bet vary the first phoneme, the p and b, Similarly, the words pat and pet vary in the middle phoneme, which is a vowel. When the phonemes differ in two words, they are referred as minimal pairs. So an allophone is described as different ways to articulate a phoneme based on its setting in a word. Listen to how two allophones of L in the word lil could vary in sound. So one way could be producing the sound slightly deeper, and the another could be the deletion of the L. For example, for the little, when we pronounce the little, it's not little, isn't it? In English, little. It's not. It's little Red Riding Hood. Kaya nga, diba, as you can see with this one, it's lil. Nagiging ganito siya. Alright? So, hindi siya Little Red Riding Hood. Diba? It's not gonna Little Red Riding Hood. So, it changes the spelling. It both are L, but the difference is some words, some L is not aspirated. So, sounds. Okay, so wait for a while. Okay. Producing always occur in different settings of words named complementary distribution. Complementary distribution often occurs when sounds are modified by their environment, such as the initial p in pepper, which is different than how p in spots is sounded. So pepper, 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 pepper. Di siya pepper. It's not pepper. Okay, so black pepper. Black pepper. Diba? It's not like that. It's usually, if it's double P, it's a, unlike in Filipino, it's also different. Usually double P talagang aspirated lahat. And spot, pepper, spot, pepper. The way we produce sound is different, the two words. Now, articulation is the production of sounds using the vocal tract, such as the articulation of the sound vowels and the consonants. Articulation is the act of producing the sounds using the organs of speech, such as the jaws, tongue, the lips, while pronunciation is the manner of speaking the words correctly. It's a way of producing sounds, including the stress, intonation, and articulation. The sound production is based on acceptability and the standard. Pronunciation is a matter of sounding the words during the utterance. If articulations produce the sound and organ speech enunciation is a clarity of how sounds are made. So articulation is just the act of producing the sounds itself. But again, the pronunciation is a manner of sounding. It involves intonation. For example, when we have um uh usually the rising and falling intonation is an are you going somewhere? Are you going somewhere? So, but for that is pronunciation. Are you going somewhere? Where are you going? So there's a manner, but for articulation, you just need to pronounce the words correctly. Where are you going? Are you going somewhere? So that is articulation. So you know the right pronunciation, right articulation of each words, but when it comes to pronunciation, you know the tone of the words, and that's it. So now, phonation naman is humans always make sounds. So every time you do something, you make and produce sounds. Even when you hit your head, you will most probably say, ouch, it hurts. What the? Oh, ew, you saw someone who's very ugly. Just kidding. You saw a poo. You step on a poo. Ew, what's this? Ah, get this up. Sometimes it's involuntarily you produce these words. The physical properties of each sound production are referred to as the phonation. It's called the reason for the sound. So why did you produce these sounds? Because of you felt something, isn't it? Phonation occurs when the air is carried into the lungs, then the air passes through the glottis and larynx. So it's the reason why you produce intonation. You don't. Sometimes we could also think that it's just a very. For example, we felt a very and it's an expression, and then you just blurt it out. It's ouch. Okay, so maybe it's not ouch. Ouch. It's not like like that. Oh, ganun. Oh, ew. Like that you produce the sounds because you felt that way. Nasalization is a mouth utters some words, occasionally the volume is lowered. Some air passes through the nose, and this is called nasalization. It occurs when the sound is expelled partly through the nose and mouth, such as the sound of mm. I remember one of my favorite sitcoms is Nanny Fine. I forgot I don't know if Nanny Fine is this is how she pronounced the words. Hi, I'm Nanny Fine. Okay, so the words they use, how are you doing? So, or if ever you're a fan of Friends, we have Janice, Chandler. So more on the nasalization that is more sound. So it's different. It feels that you have a cold, which is all through your life you have a cold like that. So phonetics and classifications, experimental phonics refers to the branch of general phonetics, which involves the study of sound and other speech of human. It investigates the physical occurrence of speech, including how sounds are produced and perceived. It looks into the nature of the audible signals that is transmitted from the speaker to the listener. Experimental phonetics covers basic areas such as articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and auditory phonetics. So when we say articulatory phonetics, it is concerned with the production of sound. It explains the motion of speech structures such as lips, tongue, and velum jaw. The place and manner of articulation are classified under articulatory phonetics. So you could put this as you. Okay. Generally, articulatory phonetics deals with the transformation of the airflow to the vocal tract into acoustic energy. So the primary articulatory include the gum ridge, upper lip, the lower lip, upper teeth and tongue, and the hard palate. The soft palate, the velum, the uvula, and the pharyngeal wall, and the glottis. The production of sound tracks. So, ano natin to? So that if you will screenshot it, will be easier for you. The primary airtake. The production of sound starts when the air is pushed from the lungs to the glottis. When the air is pushed to the glottis, the pressure in the larynx drops. The dropping pressure causes vibration to the vocal folds. When the vocal folds vibrate, the opening becomes smaller since the tension stretches across the larynx. Finally, the muscles of the mouth, such as the tongue, the plates, the teeth, etc., are articulated in sound. So the production of air affects the sound. That's why when we have cold, it's hard for us to, we are more nasal because we cannot breathe. And sometimes when we cannot breathe, I, I cannot, yeah, it's like that. So further when the air is pushed out, it is cold. When the air is directly produced from the lungs, the sound is said to be pulmonic. When the air is sucked in it, it's called ingressive. Further, when the air is pushed out, it's called aggressive sounds. Now, all right. Sorry. The articulation process shapes the word every utterance. As speech is a result of how the speaker enunciates the word. Most of the time, proper articulation makes speech clearer and more understandable. The articular system comprises of the lungs, the mouth, the tongue, the lips, the nose, the larynx, and vocal folds. This make humans capable of articulation unlike any other species. So what are the different processes of articulation? We have assimilation. It is the process of influencing, preceding, or following sounds. Sorry. Uh, when the preceding sound is assimilated, for example, the word bank, when n and k are assimilated, the sound of n undergoes change, which is caused by the trigger sound of k. Assimilation is progressive when the succeeding sound is assimilated. such as the words crammed or processed. The change of the sound d is triggered the sound of e. Eh. The sound of d when assimilated with the d is aspirated t. Assimilation, if influence of two sounds is mutual, that being preceding the succeeding sounds of the word what or the. So assimilation again is the influencing the preceding or following of the sounds. And that's the reason why some sounds are lessened or not aspirated because it's assimilated because maybe for example it's um processed, it's cramped because the ed will be t processed. It's already in process. It's not, it's already processed. No, it's not, it's processed. Cramped. Okay, Syrian. It's not crammed because we have certain rules, so differential, the simulation. While deletion is the process of dropping or eliding specific sounds. Sounds that are usually deleted in of the cluster, such as the word soft fabric. This happens when alveolar is plosive, T is deleted. So sometimes some words we don't pronounce the T. It's a soft fabrics. You don't need to pronounce the T sounds, but you know that there's a T sound there. It's not soft fabrics. So it's when we keep on pushing the soft fabrics, diba? But if, for example, we will say soft, but because of the another f sound, soft fabrics, it doesn't look good, isn't it? So soft fabrics. Yun. So it's a deletion. In deletion, it is categorized in dissimulation. It's in the deletion of the first similar phoneme in the initial phoneme of the adjoining words. An example is the word library, and secretary, library. It's not library, secretary. Nagiging nawawala yung Y, this one. Library, library, secretary, Terry, Tay. Yeah, so library, secretary. So I could see the secretary. Parang ganon, ano. Now, aphoresis, on the other hand, parang di ko wait. Alright, sorry. Okay. Is the deletion of the vowel sounds at the beginning of the word, such as the word go away, go away, go away, di ba? In Filipino. That's why we have problems with that one eh. Kasi in Filipino, we pronounce every word, but in English it's different. Go away. Yeah, it's a go away. So it's a sound, isn't it? Syncope is the internal deletion of vowel sound. An example is the vowel and in the word not. Not. It's not. Di man, not. It's not. Not. It's like you're just pronouncing the and sound. Not. No. Not. It's not my problem. It doesn't not my problem. Not. It's not. It's not my problem. Or the vowel in suit and bought. Hindi siya ng suit. Suit. Hindi, diba? It's suit. And then and boot okay, walang ganun na boot no, it's bought. So it's syncope. So internal deletion of the vowel sounds. Next we have apocope, is the deletion of the final vowel sounds such as in Lacoste and opposed. So it's a Lacoste. Lacoste. So it's not like that. It's Lacoste. Oppose. Oppose. Not, it's not different. It's opposed. So that's the different deletion. So that it will be easier for you to take down notes for your review. Yeah. You could search, since you're a college student, you could search for more examples of this one. Okay. Weakening or lenition is the eliding of the weak phoneme or the weakening of the weak consonant. An example of lenition is the eliding of the weak phonemes, the words could and him, him, him. It's just could, would, should, wala na siyang could, would, should, di ba? It's could, would, should, him, him. Kasi, ma, him. Ganun. Pero pag tinanggal mo yung I, so kailangan tayo na. Pero, yun. Next is insertion of epenthesis. Okay, wait. This one, my favorite. It's a process of inserting sounds when insertion is done at the beginning of the word. It is called prosthesis. This happens when a vowel sound at the beginning of the words is inserted. This is very common in some Filipino and Latin words. One very common of prothesis is, wait lang. One common of prothesis is the English word speaking. So when Filipinos, some of the Filipinos insert in the beginning of the sound as speaking. As speaking of the devil. Very common. Aside from as speaking, I also, well, as teachers, we also have this one, is school. Oh, anak, pupunta ka ba sa school? Okay, di ba ganyan? O kaya minsan, is story. Okay. So, what is the in story? What is the story all about? Ganon. So that is an example uh of uh prosthesis. When the insertion of vowel is done internally, it is called anaptyksis. Further, if the vowel sound is inserted at the end, it is referred to as the parago. Whenever consonant sound is inserted between consonant sounds in term, sorry, it is termed as an exercence. There are not many insertion sounds in English word except when they are produced in some non-English speakers. O yan, is speakers. Some non-English speakers. Metathesis is the process of reordering phonemes. Usually it occurs in children's speech such as acts instead of asks, waps, wasps, desk, dex, desks, aminal, or for animals. So sometimes, usually, normally for kids. Lengthening is a process of stretching the sounds of some phonemes where some sounds become long as a result of some roots. For example, meet, soon, and loot. Okay, so stretching sound of some phonemes where some sounds become long as a result of sound long. Soon, such as meet, soon, loot. Ganun lang siya. So, acoustic phonetics, on the other hand, wait, is a phonetic division that is concerned with control, transmission, and reception of sounds. It aims to analyze the wave signals of the sounds for a while. Sounds that occur through the fluctuating frequencies, amplitudes, and length within speech. Speech comprises of aberrations in air pressure that results from the physical instabilities of air particles trigger the flow of air through of the lungs. The resultant wave carries um I I was lost, sorry. Carries these modifications in the air pressure from the speaker to the hearer. Acoustic phonetics is considered a very technical discipline within the study of oral communication, which answers a particular question: what is sound? Several movements such as clapping, stomping, talking to the hitting of drums, and the other movements cause sounds. These movements create fluctuation of pressure in the air and generate vibration that reaches the eardrum. The auditory system interprets these activities into neural impulses, which we hear as a sound. Therefore, sound is produced when vibration impinge upon the eardrum. When analyzing sounds, the four properties of sounds, namely wavelength, amplitude, wavelength period, amplitude, and frequency, distance, is being considered. So what is a wavelength? When we say wavelength, it is the distance between crest of a sound wave. It is the distance of sound traveling through the period from peak to peak. It is inversely proportional to frequency. And the period of wave refers to the time to complete the cycle of the sound. Amplitude is, on the other hand, period. Sorry. While amplitude is the height of the wave, the loud sounds produce loud amplitude, while the softer sounds produce smaller amplitude. The intensity of sounds is measured by a scientific unit called B1 or 2 on 1 or 0 point on decibel. When the sound is very soft, the contrary, the sound decibel goes up to 6. When humans speak, the normal sound is 60 decibels. For frequency, it's a number of wave cycles that passes through set of points in a second, which measured by hertz. So I won't bore you with this one since it's not our forte naman talaga. Now, auditory phonetics. So the human auditory system is a very essential component to successful verbal exchanges. The ears are sensitive to the frequencies in human speech. Auditory phonetics is a division of phonetics that involves perception of sound and how sounds are heard and interpreted. If articulatory phonetics is concerned with the articulatory of the speaker, auditory phonetics is concerned with the listener. So the difference between articulation, electoral phonetics from auditory is about the receiver. Kasi yun ang focus ng auditory. Auditory phonetics deals with the interconnected elements, the sound and the sound perception and decoding of message. Ay, sorry. Sounds are, sorry. Sounds are perceived when the molecules of the air reach the ear. This causes vibration to the eardrum, to the mallet, stirrup, and incus. The vibration passes through the cochlear, is carried to basilar membrane when the auditory receptors are found. Okay, so hindi ko na masyado siyang inaano ha kasi hindi tayo dito. So, now, let us now have descriptive phonetics. So descriptive phonetics with a range of topics including vowels, consonant, transcription, suprasegmental features, and dialect variations. Now, when we say a vowel sounds that is syllabically pronounced without any restrictions to the organs. It is one of the major classification of sounds. It varies in loudness, quality, and length. Vowels are voiced. It is involved in prosodic distinction, including stress, tone, and intonation. So the vowel sounds are a, e, o, u. So if a, e, I, o, u. A, e, o, u. A, e, o, u, and So those are vowel sounds. So it's not just a, e, o, u, but we have a lot of vowels. So a, diba? So now, for the consonant sounds, the speech sounds that are articulated with partial complete posture for the vocal tract. So samples of consonants is a p, produced with the lips, p, 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 t, 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 front teeth, front of the tongue, produced with the front of the tongue. So place in the t, the teeth, the last one, t, t, t. K, k naman is produced with the back of the tongue. K, 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 k. H is produced in the throat. H, 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 h. And f and s produced through the narrow channel. F, s, s, s. Sorry pala yung H pala. Baho. And m and na, nasal. So, Now, suprasegmental features are prosodic, which includes stress, tone, pitch, juncture, and intonation. Suprasegmental features are not only limited to sounds, but also to syllables, words, phrases, and sentences. So let's have an activity. Okay. So I think this one you don't need to do. Okay. So multiple choice question. Sige na. Sige na. This is a review na rin. So, ang layo na ng theory. Sorry. So, sobrang layo na to. You don't need to answer. Wait lang. Sorry. Na-late siya. Tapos na tayo sa don't need to answer. Alright. Sorry for this one. Okay. So, this is to lost in translation. Sige. So, we'll be having morphology in the next video para hindi mahirap mag-upload. So, I'll be stopping the stop sharing. So, I hope you have understand our lesson. Sorry for some lessons medyo ang layo, ahapyaw tayo because it's not part of, it's part but it's not actually, it's more on physics na siya eh. So, dito lang tayo sa area natin. So, let's have the last recording later on. Sige. So, I have, at least this one is just 43 minutes. It will be easier for me to upload this on YouTube. Thank you.